Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to a little bit of a different commentary video today. This one's gonna be a little bit more in depth than the ones we usually do. Usually I kind of just like write down a bullet point and kind of just like, rant about something that I find either interesting or uninteresting or I hate about the game. But this one's gonna be a little bit more in depth. This one's gonna be a little bit more of a lesson. For those of you who have not been with the channel for a long time, I used to be a teacher. I taught for 5 years. I taught social studies. And one of the things that I taught while I was a social studies teacher was economics. And there is a behavior that I see in the Dead by Daylight community of people continuing to play the game despite the fact that they hate it, despite the fact that they despise it. And this is something we brought up on our stream over at twitch.tv/TheMrHeadache during one of our React sessions of people continuing to play the game past a firm point of enjoyment. And that's a really toxic negative thing. But I'm going to tell you how, like, especially in the world of economics, this is actually something that happens pretty commonly, and we can apply some of the things that I had to teach kids with economics, specifically sunk cost and sunk cost fallacy, to the way that people seem to stick to Dead by Daylight way past the point of enjoying it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So first off, what is a sunk cost? Well, in a business sense, a sunk cost is it's money that you have already invested. It is a cost, meaning you have lost money, and this money, the key thing here is that the money that you've spent here, or the money you've lost, is unrecoverable. It is not coming back. It is gone. It is gonzo. Now, typically in a smart business, in a good business, that money is considered gone. Like whenever they're trying to make new decisions, they don't try to go back and address this stuff. Like it's a sunk cost. It's gone now. Let it go, just let it be. And when we move on, we're just moving past this. It's just gone now. Now, in the terms of Dead by Daylight, in the terms of DBD, this would be more comparable to like time or even a money investment. If you're talking about like cosmetics, I mean, they just dropped all those new winter cosmetics, and God knows I have a lot of cosmetics in this game now. Oh man, oh man. But yeah, this can transfer to time, like hours. Like I have almost 4K hours now. I have like 3.8 or something like that. I haven't checked in a little bit. But I have a lot of hours in this game. It could be, like I said, the money with the store. How many cosmetics have I bought? Because these cosmetics don't have any value outside of the game. So I need to keep playing the game to get value of all the cosmetics that I spent money on. And it could be even something a little bit more emotional and social. Like, I've met all my friends on this game. And if I keep playing this game, I keep making more friends, or I get to keep the friends that I currently have. So the sunk cost there would be like, the time you spent on this game. Like I can't undo my 3.8 thousand hours, right? I can't unspend that time on this game. The money, the Oryx cells that I've bought, the cosmetics I have bought, I cannot sell those back and get my money back. Those are a sunk cost because they're gone forever. I can't go back and undo those things. So those are a sunk cost. So the sunk cost fallacy is more of an emotional thing and a behavioral thing because, like we said, when we define sunk cost, everything is gone. Everything's gone already, right? Like the things that you have spent, you cannot get those back. That is just not a thing anymore. However, the sunk cost fallacy applies to the kind of this emotional, behavioral kind of mindset that like it's okay to keep following this path, this idea, because resources have already been committed to this. We have already put a lot of effort into the whatever business thing it happened to be, so we might as well keep doing it because we've already put in all this effort. Now you may be thinking like, why does that make any sense? Why would they continue to do that? Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that. A lot of people like it shows like it, depending on like the situation, like if it was a sunk cost, but it was like for say like a good cause or something that makes the company look good, you could be trying to uphold a status quo and trying to make the company continue to look good, even though it was a sunk cost. There's a lot of like, commitment bias, I think would be the word. I think would be the term of like, well, we want to stick with this. I'm stubborn. I put a lot into this, so I want to continue, doing it because this is the original plan, and I want to see it through to the end, even if it ended up not being a good plan. And this last one's probably the most important one, which I don't know why I said it last then, but hey, I haven't been a teacher for a while. Okay, relax. But loss aversion is probably the biggest reason that people commit to a sunk cost fallacy. So essentially, the TLDR is like people get so scared of having a loss happen, so having like a firm negative, that they try to play it as safe as possible instead of seeking a positive. So they're just trying to avoid the negative as much as possible, that they try to just find stability versus just having a positive, which should be the goal. The goal should be hitting that positive stride, right? But with loss aversion, they focus more on just not having a loss at all. hence averting a loss. Haha, get it, the name. So in terms of like obviously the DBD community, we talked about several factors that factor into this, like hours spent, money spent on the game, social relationships that are spent in the game, that once again are sunk costs, because those are things that you can't undo. Those are things that have, you know, you've put that energy out there, or you've put that money out there, you can't get those back. So that's a firm thing. But with the sunk cost fallacy, you may want to continue, you know, like we said with like the commitment bias. Good example would be like the social aspects, right? Like if I have a lot of friends that I made in this game, especially Twitch streamers, we're talking about Twitch streamers, a lot of people have built communities on this game. This is the original plan, right? I'm a DBD streamer. This is the original plan, and I'm going to stick to that plan until I see it to whatever fruition it comes to, because the original plan was that I was a DBD streamer. So even though the point that I get to the point where I'm clearly at a loss here, I'm clearly not enjoying myself anymore. This is the original plan, and because of commitment bias, I'm going to stick to it. Because of sunk cost fallacy, I'm going to stick to it. Also, waste avoidance, big thing here. If I have spent all this money on cosmetics, and I have spent all this time, especially with like Twitch streamers, building a community around this game, that would be a waste to, you know, move to a different game and lose my audience and have to rebuild. It would be a waste to, after I spent all this money on this game, to just kind of never play it again, because all that money is essentially locked up in the game and I'm never getting it back. That's waste avoidance. And of course, talking about the most, you know, important aspect of sunk cost fallacy, loss, aversion. A lot of people that I know play this game that do not like it, who have thousands and thousands of hours, they have like literally like told me almost verbatim that I just don't know what else I would play. And that sounds almost verbatim loss aversion. They would rather stick with DBD past the point of enjoying it, because they don't want to try a new game and hate it. They don't want to go to a different game and have a bad time. Even if they're actively having a bad time in DBD, they're actually actively having a bad time in Dead by Daylight, they don't want to risk having a loss somewhere else that may be worse. They don't want to go to another game and get disappointed. So a lot of people stick with DBD because DBD is mostly what they know. So they don't want to take a big risk, because it's always a low risk to play DBD, because even if you're not too happy, you know what's going to happen for the most part, right? Even though it's an ASIM, you know generally what you're getting into game by game. So there's not really a high risk to continue to play a game, even if you don't necessarily like it, as opposed to taking a high risk by trying a brand new game and potentially being really, really happy, but also potentially getting really unhappy and kind of feeling like you wasted your time. So loss aversion is a big, big aspect of this. Big, big aspect of why people will stick with this game far past. So how do you avoid the sunk cost fallacy when it comes to our specific situation with playing DBD past the point of enjoyment? Well, in the business world, in economics, usually you just have to trust data and keep track of like the numbers, right? Like, because the numbers don't lie. A lot of sunk cost fallacy examples are done for really emotional reasons, like we've talked about, which is why it actually really does apply to our DBD world. Because usually the people that reason, you know, the emotional problem is that you don't like the game and it makes you upset, right? So it's an emotional reaction, so it's an emotional thing. So usually in like the economic side of things, you just stick to the data and try to remain committed to data over ideas and thoughts and feelings. So with like the sense of Dead by Daylight and playing it past the point of enjoying it, I feel like I would just keep track of your games. How many games do you come out of feeling less than 50% happy? Like more than half the game, you were having a bad time. And I feel like if you have this happen, like if you play a full day of Dead by Daylight or like whatever, how long your play session is, and you don't have fun more than 50% of the time, more than half the time, in most of your matches, that's a sign. That is hard data that you don't enjoy this game a majority of the time that you play it. And to me, that's a sign, that is intrinsic data that you are not having a good time. And maybe that data will help you if you keep track of that. If you look at that and you go, wow, I'm really not actually having a good time in the game. My matches, by and large, awful time. I'm not doing so hot and I don't feel too good. That is intrinsic data that you can look at, just look by match, and be like, wow, most of the time, I'm just having a bad time. So maybe I just don't like this game anymore. And hopefully that hard data can help you, because that's typically how people break out of sunk cost fallacy in its other use and example. Yeah, a little bit of a big brain one today. Sorry if this was a little bit more intense and educational than you're used to. It's just, you know, it's something that I just happen to know a lot about because of my, you know, my experience. So hopefully it helped kind of frame things in a kind of a unique way, and hopefully shed some light on some things and maybe help somebody out there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. That could be it for today's video. But I do upload daily, so I will see you tomorrow. But if I do not, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.